Do the Mariners have a Teoscar Hernandez problem? Is it time to bench Ty France? And why do the Mariners insist on keeping guys like Colton Wong and AJ Pollock around? All that and more coming up here on Mailbag Monday. Colby, hit it.
You are Locked On Mariners, your daily Seattle Mariners podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Ahoy, sailors. It is Monday, July 17th, 2023. This is Trident Gonzalez and Colby Patnode for the Locked On Mariners podcast, brought to you by eBay Motors. Championship team is about each player being a perfect fit, and that's the same with your vehicle. So for parts that fit, head on over to eBay Motors and look for the green check. Stay in the game with eBay Guaranteed Fit, ebaymotors.com. Let's ride. eBay Guaranteed Fit, only available to U.S. customers, eligible items only, exclusions apply. Thank you so much for making us your first listen. Subscribe, like, and turn on alerts if you're watching on YouTube, or subscribe and leave a 5-star review on your preferred podcast platform if you like what you hear. And if you're part of the crew and rock with us every single day, let us know in the comments below. And if you want to hear from us even more, please consider signing up for our Patreon. You can now get a free 7-day trial. Check out the show. The link, as well as our social accounts, is in the description of this episode. And this episode is, of course, Mailbag Monday. It's Monday, after all. This is the show where we answer your Mariners questions. Be sure to stick around until later on in the show. We're going to be announcing one of our biggest giveaways yet. You don't want to miss it. But let's get into these questions here, Colby. We're going to start with Christopher, who asked, we have seen Julio not properly communicate defensively to Teos and other teammates on fly balls, both today and yesterday's game. Is this due to his young age and him wanting to catch everything? This seems like a simple conversational fix. Colby, what do you think is going on in the Mariners outfield right now?
I don't know. It's pretty hard to assign blame because, you kind of ask yourself what's most likely to happen here. Is it that, Julio's not talking? Is it that Julio is calling these balls and the other guys aren't hearing him? Or is it that, he's calling these balls and other guys are ignoring him? So kind of tough to say, and there's a lot of gray area between all of those ideas. So I don't know. This is just a Julio thing. It is interesting. Julio's range looks significantly larger than it was last year, which makes some sense. He's more comfortable at the position after a full year, but he is covering a lot of ground. So, it's entirely possible that Julio thinks he can get to more than he actually can. It's also entirely possible that, in this case, Teoscar thinks he has the better, angle, thinks he has the catch guaranteed, and he doesn't want to risk. It's an easier catch for me, so I'll catch it. But at the end of the day, Julio is, in charge of every single fly ball that is hit at the ballpark. And, he has priority over every single player. If Julio says he has it, you have to let him try and catch it. That's just the way baseball is set up. The center fielder has priority on every fly ball. There's a fly ball hit so high that, JP Crawford's waiting for it on top of second base, and Julio thinks he can catch it, and Julio calls it. In theory, Julio is the one who should try to catch it because you avoid these type of things, and it's just an easier play for him because he's coming in. So it's just one of those things where I don't really know who to blame for this. It's not all that uncommon for even the best center fielders to have this happen once or twice a year. It just, back-to-back days, it's a little right. Concerning, and it's a little more present because it just happened to back-to-back days. But yeah, I'm not really sure who to assign blame to here. Could just as easily be Teoscar not listening or not hearing. It could be Julio not saying it loud enough. Ballpark was pretty packed this weekend, but I don't know. It's just one of those things where I can't say for sure that this is a Julio problem. If I had to guess, I'd say it probably is mostly on Julio at the end of the day, because you're the franchise, that's just how it goes. Like if there's a problem, it's on you.
You're the quarterback of the outfield too, right? So at least some of the blame has to fall on Julio. And yeah, this seems like a conversational fix, but they've had these conversations. We know that they have. Like, you have to have these conversations after stuff like this happens. And this isn't the only time this has happened this year. And this isn't the only time this has happened with Julio and a Mariners outfielder. It's not just Teos. It was also Mitch Haniger last year, Jared Kelenic last year. Not really this year. I can't really remember a moment between him and Jared this year where they've had issues. Correct me if I'm wrong. But he also had issues with, Jesse Winker last year, which A lot of guys had issues with
Who didn't?
Yeah, good way to put it. I saw a lot of people last night, kind of be quick to blame this on Teo, and I get it because Teo's an easy target right now, but I don't know if it's that simple because again, we're seeing it happen with Julio and other guys. So who's the common denominator here? It's Julio. Now I'm not saying that he's for sure at fault here, but
Ty out here just hating on Julio still.
Right.
Cannot give the guy any credit.
Let's stay on track here with Teo though, because we got another question about him. Peter wants to know what's the concern level after this weekend with Teoscar. We're not in the clubhouse like you've said, but from the outside, he looked as if he checked out and maybe forcing an issue the front office has resolved before the deadline. Colby, we've seen Teo look the way that he did this weekend multiple times this season, and then he'll have a couple week stretch where he looks like the most locked in dude on the team, and for that reason, in general, I've been flabbergasted by his season with Mariners. I'm a fan of Teo, you know that. I wanted him here, etc. But I am insanely conflicted when I watch him play baseball this year because there's part of me that's like, I want his time in Seattle to end as soon as possible. And then there's another side of me that's like, I want him to be here for the next 3 years. And right now I'm leaning towards more the former, but it changes on a week-to-week basis because
it changes when you look at the box score.
yeah.
The previous night's box score will determine your feelings on whether Teo should stay.
Yeah.
It just, when he's bad, like it's one of the worst, like, attempts to hit I've ever seen in my life. Like, he's just flailing at everything. There's just no attempt. He's, he gets down 0-2 and it's just like, well, he's going to, no matter where this pitch is, he's going to swing. So, it's very easy to get frustrated with Teo because when he's bad, when he's having a bad night, there's there's just no happy medium. Either Teo has had a great game or he's 0 for 4 with 3 strikeouts, and the 3 strikeouts, he's swinging at pitches in the other batter's box. So, yeah, I don't want to crucify the guy too much because, prior to this weekend series, he was probably your second or third best hitter for the last month.
Yeah.
And, I don't think that it's fair to just say like, oh, well, he's the problem. He's, an issue in the clubhouse. Like those are some serious accusations for any player.
And ones that go against the whole reputation Teo has built for himself over his entire career.
Right.
So
I don't know. I totally get what you're saying though, because there are times where I watch Teo hit, particularly when they're down like 5-6-0 or whatever late in the game. And it's just like, he's just waving the bat at the ball to it looks like he's trying to get back to the dugout. So I totally get like where the frustration's coming from. And I totally get the premise of the question because there are times where he's not even trying right now. Like he's checked out. But I do think you have to be careful with just assuming that is what's happened and frustration. I totally get, questioning the character of Teoscar Hernandez, publicly in a way that we can. It's a gray area because you don't want to be wrong about that.
Yeah.
And we haven't heard anything to suggest that Teoscar is a problem, but
I'm not willing to speculate on that for sure, but
maybe he is, but we don't know. We just don't know
and if he is, then I trust the Mariners to handle that. I trust Jerry DiPoto and Justin Hollander to handle that how they need to.
The Mariners have never had a problem getting rid of malcontents in their locker room.
Right.
They did it with Jesse Winker. They did it with Kendall Graveman. Yep. Gene Segura. They don't have a problem with it. So, fortunately for them, Teoscar is a free agent at the end of the year. So they don't have to trade him. They can, they can get rid of the problem naturally.
Yeah. And they can get a draft pick for it or whatever.
Probably. Yeah.
Yeah. So, we'll see how the rest of Teo's tenure in Seattle goes. Maybe it only lasts the next 2 weeks and then he gets traded at the deadline. Maybe it lasts for the rest of the year and they say farewell, or maybe they re-sign him, right? Or maybe, they apply the qualifying offer and for whatever reason, I don't think this is going to happen, but he accepts the qualifying offer. Again, I don't think that's going to happen. I think they'll be able to get more years and more dollars than that. But it's a weird situation as a whole, right? And it's kind of the epitome of what the Mariners have been in general this year, where it's like there's so much upside here, there's so much potential, and we're seeing glimpses of it, but we're just not seeing it over any sort of consistent period.
Yeah.
So It's been a bummer. But I still believe in Teo. If he sticks around, I still think that he can be. Yeah, I mean, yeah, that too, right? And I also hitched my wagon to him this offseason. So
he was your number one flag guy. Mine was Robbie Ray. So, but
yeah, we'll
at least my guy got hurt. What's your excuse?
Yeah, good point. Good point. All right, so we're going to be telling you about one of our biggest giveaways to date, and answer some more questions in just a moment. But first, a reminder: this episode of the Locked On Mariners podcast is brought to you by Sleeper. Are you using the Sleeper app for daily fantasy baseball? Want to times your money by 100? Sleeper is now offering up to a 100 times payout for up to 8 pick contests. Choose as many as 8 players that you like and pick more or less on your favorite baseball stats like home runs, strikeouts, hits, and more. Get your picks right and you can win big. Making your picks is easy and takes only 30 seconds or less. And if you win, you can withdraw your payouts safe and quickly. Use promo code LOCKED ON and you'll get up to $100 matched on your first deposit. Terms and conditions apply. See Sleeper's terms of use for details. Currently operational in over 30 states. Check out Sleeper today. And you're listening to the Locked On Mariners podcast. Thank you again for making us your first listen. Mariners and Twins starting a 3-game series tonight at T-Mobile Park. You can catch all 4 games. I thought the Blue Jay series was a 4-game series. Okay, so this series is a 4-game series starting tonight, and you can catch all the action on the Mariners' hometown broadcast for SiriusXM via the SXM app. All right, so before we get back into your questions, an announcement. We have another giveaway going right after we finished our JP for ASG giveaway last week. So a patron of ours over at patreon.com/control-zone, sign up today. You can get a free 7-day trial. Was kind enough to give us, he's a season ticket holder. He gave us his tickets for the entire Mariners Red Sox series. So since I live in Toronto and Colby lives on the other side of the state and it's a weekday series, we're going to give these away to you guys. So very simple. We're going to have 3 winners. And these are all sets of 2 tickets each for each game. So you and a friend can go. We're going to give away a winner for the Monday game. We're going to give away a winner for the Tuesday game. We're going to give away a winner on the Wednesday game. So this is July 31st through August 2nd against the Red Sox. And you have a pretty good shot to see maybe some new Mariners who were brought in after the deadline or around the deadline. So that's pretty neat as well. So all you have to do is subscribe to this YouTube channel. Or if you're listening on podcast platforms, come on over to our YouTube channel, Locked On Mariners, subscribe, leave a comment on any of our videos this week with just whatever day you want to go see the Mariners, Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday. You pick the game, let us know in the comments, and then we'll pick 3 winners. We'll pick one who said they wanted to go on Monday, pick one who said they wanted to go on Tuesday, and we'll pick one who says they wanted to go on Wednesday. So very simple. And if you want an extra little entry, tell your friend who you want to go with to come on over, subscribe to the channel, leave a comment as well saying what day you guys want to go. So yeah, looking forward to seeing all of you in the comments, and go see the Mariners later this month. Didn't play the Red Sox, maybe see some new Mariners as well. All right, let's get back into these questions here. Oops, that's the wrong question. Here we go. Josh wants to know, who was the last player you guys can remember going from virtually universal fan favorite to why is he even in the lineup quite as aggressively and quickly as Ty France? I don't have a great answer for you, but Ty France is in a dark place right now.
Yeah. So here's the deal. I know more and more people are joining my resistance, but I still feel like Ty France is a heavy fan favorite, and we still have more educating of people to go. But Ty France has been poopy, and the Mariners should let it flow. Huh? But yeah, he's been bad.
Poopy.
He's been poopy. Yeah, he's been bad. Like, there's just no way around it. He's gotten worse every month of this year. He wasn't very good the second half of last year. And he's your first baseman, and he's not hitting for any power or getting on base. Like, can't have it. Can't. Ty France's slash line is totally acceptable for a second baseman, a shortstop, a center fielder. It's even okay for, an above average, left fielder. It's not acceptable for a first baseman. As for like a fan favorite who fall out of favor really quickly, like I still don't think Ty France is there for enough people. Join the resistance down below. But I would say Taylor Motter was the guy who came to mind as like got really hot for a month. Everyone's like, he should be the starting first baseman. And then like, 3 weeks later, people are like, you should DFA him. He's not very good. But I mean, I just, the thing with Mariner fans is that they're loyal to a fault. So yeah, it's very rare for a fan favorite to go from fan favorite to like the anti fan favorite in a year. That just doesn't really happen. So it's not a great franchise to ask this question about. And I still think Ty France is a heavy fan favorite by most people, but we're starting to awaken some people and get them to understand that Ty France really is a bad, major leaguer, particularly at first base. So yeah, he's a bad fit for this ball club. So either he needs to start hitting more home runs or he's got to start drawing walks, because what he's doing right now is he looks worse right now than Colton Wong ever has.
Yeah.
Well, and sadly, that's a fact.
While from a WRC plus standpoint, he's a league average bat to a slightly above average, or above league average bat. That's not good enough from your first baseman, because he's not providing any power. He doesn't provide you any value on the base pass. He actually, in fact, hurts you on the base pass. The double plays are still a major problem, as evidenced by this past weekend. He's striking out more over each month. You showed me the numbers yesterday in our, private chat.
Yep.
We talked about this. He's not walking. He's whiffing more. He's chasing more. It's just a bad product overall. You can't afford to have that guy playing every day for you at first base.
Yeah, you especially can't afford to have him hit third, for the entire year.
Which they changed yesterday. Finally, finally lowered him in the lineup, which has been long overdue, to be quite honest with you, because this again has been a pretty consistent progression over the course of the year of him becoming more and more this guy that we're seeing right now.
Mm-hmm.
And
he's not even James Loney. Like, Loney was a first baseman who didn't hit for a lot of power, but Loney was a really good athlete who hit 300, got on base. Ty France can't do, Ty France's ceiling is 270, 25 bombs.
France has done that, but he hasn't done that for like a year. And
not since the end of June last year.
Yeah, last year, which again, that coincides with some pretty significant injuries, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
But he's healthy
this year. But now he's healthy. And
he's getting progressively worse.
This offseason, he got leaner and all this stuff in order to, help him stay on the field and add some fluidity, at the plate. And that just hasn't really resulted in anything but worse production. So yeah, it's a problem. But the other thing too is like, you can't really trade him right now because you're selling so low on him. And it's like, I feel like
are you selling low, or are you just getting what he's actually worth?
I feel like the reward of waiting it out, the potential reward of waiting it out and seeing if he can get back on track, is worth more than whatever you can get on the market. Because like, you're not trading him for Ha-Seong Kim. You're not. The Padres are laughing in your face. You're not trading him for Alex Verdugo at this point.
No.
Like other teams are seeing this as well. They all have these numbers. They all have the data, and even data that we don't even know about on Ty France. And they'll be able to see, the significant regression that he's undergoing right now.
Mm-hmm.
And there isn't going to be a lot of, like, that's not going to carry a lot of value. Because again, you're talking about a first base / DH only who doesn't hit for power and is now striking out a lot, or at least whiffing and chasing a lot and not walking. And is terrible on the base pass and is regressing significantly on the defensive end as well. So yeah, it's just all bad right now. It sucks.
Ty France needs to get back to, what he was, which is just slap the ball past the second baseman, drive the occasional inside fastball down the line for a home run or a double. I don't know if he's trying to sell out for power right now. I don't know if there's an injury we don't know about, but there's not an easier out in baseball right now than Ty France. And basically the only thing you're hoping for is that what we've seen from France in the past is like he will go on a 2-week stretch where he just, obliterates the baseball. And he's already done that once this year. And he did it last year right after the break. I remember him being particularly good in the Texas series where he was just, on another planet. Maybe that was right before the break.
It was right. Yeah, it was the last series before the break.
Yeah. So he still has that in him, but I don't know if this is an approach thing. I don't know if he's trying to hit for more power, but right now he is just hurting the Mariners with his presence alone. So he's got to fix it. He has to. Like at the end of the day, this is on Ty France. So if you're quick to blame the hitting coach or anything like that, don't. This is Ty France's fault. It needs to fix it.
They have to fire the hitting coach, Colby, even though there's actually 2 hitting coaches, and I know neither of their names.
Yep. Sounds about right.
You're listening to the Locked On Mariners podcast. Thank you again for making us your first listen here on Mailbag Monday. Again, you can catch the Mariners and Twins tonight on the Mariners hometown broadcast of SiriusXM via the SXM app. We've got another Ty France question. This one comes from Tyson. Is it time for Mike Ford to start getting some starts at first? Then that gives space for Pollock and Murphy to get some DH days. France has been horrible, and I don't think he should be getting 7 starts a week. What do you guys think? Well, it's impossible to get 7 starts a week because there's at least one off day in between. Well, most of the time, at least. But yeah, whatever. Oh,
Not
don't roll
week.
your eyes
This week.
As if you don't nickel and dime literally everything I and everyone else says.
Yeah, but that's expected. So I give the people what they want. I'm not sure Mike Ford is the answer here. Yeah, he had a great road trip and all that stuff. He's still Mike Ford at the end of the day. And so, yeah, I'm not sure he's the answer here. I also don't know why giving AJ Pollock more at bats is something you're championing, whatever.
Championing.
Yeah, I'm not sure why that's
Sure.
a thing. But yeah, I don't think any player should play every single game in a week. Like I think you should have a day off a week if you can manage it. Sometimes you can't. Circumstances dictate maybe you have to play 8-9 games in a row. Fine, whatever. But I don't think any player should be in the lineup every day. But I also don't think that a day off magically fixes anybody. And in particular, Ty France, like he just had 4 days off and he just had the worst series of his career. Like didn't really help. So from a Mariners perspective, like I don't know that Mike Ford's the answer. You can use him at first base once or twice a week. Fine, whatever. And if you want to get Murphy an extra DH day, like fine, that totally works. But like, I don't see a scenario where you can just bench Ty France, make Ty France a part-time player, not with the way your roster's, constructed right now. So yes and no, like, sure, you can put Ford out at first, but like give Ty France a day off a week. Sure, maybe 2. Yeah. But I don't think you're turning him into a platoon first baseman, like if that's what you're getting after.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. Like right now, you don't really have better options. So yeah, sure. Why not? Let him play some first.
Sure. If you go out and you get like Cody Bellinger at the deadline or whatever, fine. Yeah. Then Bellinger can play first and France can hit against the lefties and blah, blah, blah. Like you can do some stuff with that. But right now, no, it just sucks. You're just kind of stuck.
All right. Next question here comes from Abishai. Is Jordan Walker even realistic / worth it to trade for? Who do you like more, Walker or Nootbaar, and why? And who's your guys' realistic wants in a trade and why? I know it's 3 questions, but take your pick / pick. All right.
They're all terrible questions.
Oh my God. And we just lost Abishai. I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing your name wrong.
Full name though.
Yeah. All right. So Jordan Walker, I think Walker has the chance to be, an elite bat, but I don't think it's a great fit for the Mariners in particular because he's not a corner outfielder. I'm not really sold that he can play third base either. So at most, he's a first base / DH type. And for what it's going to cost you to acquire Jordan Walker, in theory, which you might not even have anything that the Cardinals are willing to part with Jordan Walker for. But what it could cost in theory is, to me, possibly prohibitive. So for his profile. So yeah, again, love the bat. Think he can be a great hitter in this league, but I'm not sure if I'm willing to pay the cost for him.
Yeah. I am sure I'm not. So
yeah.
I'm kind of out on Walker. I mean, I don't see a deal that makes sense, at least not in the summer. So in the winter, everything changes. But right now, no, I don't see a path. That
you might be more willing to talk about the pitchers,
Sure, because I'll just go sign Blake Snell or whatever, right, to replace the guy I trade. But who else could do that? The Cardinals. So Yeah, you're kind of. I just don't see Walker as a real possibility right now.
So Newbar or Walker, I mean, it's almost Newbar by default because there might, I mean, there's a better chance that you land Newbar. That's not to say it's a
Right.
good chance, but there's a better chance. But also Lars Newbar has been so grossly overrated by the Mariners fan base. Like
And apparently the Cardinal fan base, but
yeah. Lars Newbar to me, good player,
yeah,
but
he's a good player.
he's like Michael Saunders to me. Like
He's
am I willing to trade a potential middle of the rotation guy for that kind of profile? No.
Would you
No.
trade a middle rotation guy for Colton Wong? Like if he had the same amount of club control and was the same age, because that's basically what they are. That's basically what Newbar is.
Hitter wise, yeah. Like Newbar is like what, a 108 WRC plus guy this year. I know he was a 125 guy last year. Maybe there's people that think that there's more of a ceiling there, but still, I see I see like 3 wins as his ceiling, which is a good player. Don't get me wrong. That helps you a lot. That's just not worth what I think Brian Wu could be for me, what Bryce
Logan
Miller
Gilbert's
could be for
floor.
me, what Logan Gilbert could be for me. Like
to me, Newbar's ceiling is Gilbert's floor.
Like, do I really want to sacrifice having possibly the best rotation in all of baseball so I can get Lars Newbar?
No. Side note, Ty, if you had to bet on Jared Kelnick the rest of his career or Lars Newbar, who are you betting on?
Probably still Newbar. But like just in terms of being like consistently productive, the upside obviously, like the clear advantage upside wise is Kelnick, obviously.
Sure.
But I don't know. Kelnick's only been really good for like a month.
Yeah.
So
hey, you will not disrespect. He had the game-winning RBI yesterday.
He did, and like we've talked about, he is looking better at the plate lately,
despite having no numbers to back it up.
I know, but
he just looks better.
But you and I both see it. Like I'm glad that we confirmed that with one another. Like he does look better.
Yeah.
I just no numbers to support that.
Maybe it's just because every hit he ever gets is always a double. So we're just like, oh no, like he's getting on base so much, and it's like, no, he's not. The numbers say no.
Yeah.
I would prefer Kelnick, but also I think in terms of just like, I'd probably prefer Walker to Newbar just because he has more club control. He's younger. He has much higher upside with the bat. And I don't think Newbar's defense it's not bad. It's obviously, it's fine. Like it's totally legitimate outfielder.
He's good. Yeah.
But like, is that enough? Like if he's a 105 WRC plus bat, is that defense enough to overtake Walker, who I think is going to be a 130, 140 WRC plus bat for most of his career? No, probably not.
Well, and here's the thing too, is like with Newbar is a good defender, but we're not talking about Dalton Varsho here, where like the defense just outweighs the fact that he can, that he at the time that the Blue Jays acquired him was a league average bat by WRC plus. Like he's not that guy. So like he needs to hit more than he is right now. Like he needs, like, in order for that to be worth it to you, he has to be the guy that he was last year, and maybe even then some on top of that. Like
probably. Yeah.
Especially like power wise. Like if you're a corner outfielder, you need to hit for a bit more power than he is.
Yeah. Newbar's not a guy you're pushing Julio to a corner for.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
All right. Next question here. Or actually, we have the last bit of Abishai's question to answer before we get to you, Donis, here. What are some realistic wants from the trade deadline for both of us? I mean, like, I don't know yet because like I don't know where the Mariners are going to be in 2 weeks. I really don't, because they're still just hovering around 500, and if they go like 5-2 over the final 7 games of this homestand, then my answer might be a lot different than if they go 3-4.
Yeah, I mean, they look terrible this weekend for most of it.
Yeah,
and yet they only dropped a game, and there's actually one fewer team ahead of them now for the wild card spot. Like it's just one of those things where like if the Mariners don't lose like 7 in a row or win 7 in a row, you're just going to kind of always be in this middle ground where you don't really know. So I would say I would like on my wish list, I would like them to add a controllable bat. And by controllable, I just mean through next year.
Yeah.
So I would like them to do that. And I would like that guy ideally to be a 1-2 type of hitter, like not necessarily a slugger, although I'll take it, but like, if you can get a guy who can maybe push JP down to 2 and Julio can hit third, or you could flip flop Julio and JP now, and then this guy can hit third, like just somebody who's going to be, basically Teoscar Hernandez, but with an extra year of club control. That's kind of what I'm hoping for.
Yeah, that's pretty much all I want. I also don't want any of the starting pitchers traded. Like
Yes.
not Woo, not unless I'm getting just a ridiculous return, like just an completely asinine, unhinged return for one of those guys. Like, no. I'm out.
Yeah,
Super
like
out.
one of those genius baseball trade value trades.
Yeah.
Where you trade all your trash for like an all-star.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't want that either. And I'll tell you this: if the Mariners trade for Shohei Ohtani, I will start the fire Jerry bandwagon because that would just be a waste of resources. So
yeah, it really is.
Yeah, I am the anti Ohtani until like October 3rd or whenever the Mariners are eliminated.
Well, especially right now, it makes no sense because they're just hovering around 500. Yeah. There is like
the Angels are literally one game back of the Mariners.
If you trade for Ohtani, you are doing that for for the sole purpose of winning the World Series. You have to win the World Series if you trade for Ohtani.
Right. Or you're doing it to try and save face in front of a fan base that's a little bit upset right now, which is stupid.
And I don't even have guarantees that I'm going to make the playoffs. Nope. So why am I making a World Series or bust move when I'm a 500 club right now?
And we'll continue to say this probably throughout the next 2 weeks. Trading for Shohei Ohtani now does not come with an extension. It is not a part of the conversation.
You are paying for the half year of Ohtani, and that's it. Anything that happens from that point forward is completely unrelated to the trade.
Yes, there is no benefit in your negotiation to having Ohtani here for 2 months. None. Wake up. Grow up. Not happening. Deal with it.
All right.
Babysit you guys all the way through the trade deadline on this nonsense.
Udonis wants to know, with all the new top draft picks, does Seattle find its way into the top half of the league in farm system rankings?
Don't care. But yes.
I'm not well enough versed in other farm systems to like tell you definitively. But they have enough buy-in talent, especially after the draft now. Assuming Farmelo signs,
sure.
But even without him, I think they have enough top end talent to say that they're one of the 15 best farm systems in baseball. Yeah,
I mean, you could probably make that argument before the draft.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Harry
definitely.
Ford, Gabby Gonzalez, Cole Young, Felton
Brian
Sullivan,
Wu, technically still.
Brian Wu, Bryce Miller before he graduated.
Hancock is still a major leaguer, although his upside's probably pretty limited. They have a lot of arms that are really interesting.
Yeah, I think Clase is being heavily overrated, but he's having a good year, and I know a lot of people do like him. So yeah,
I do like that he is not like a top 100 prospect on anybody's list, which is good because he's not. He shouldn't be.
Yeah.
But yeah, they'll be upper half. I would just say don't pay attention to farm system ranks. Like, I guess they're fun to talk about, but they have zero value. Zero. So
and be sure to tune in next week when we
sure, of course. After the deadline, yeah, of course.
Yeah.
But no, they just don't have any inherent value, right? Like, because Ty and I could think that Cole Young is the best prospect in the Mariners system, and the Mariners should trade him for, player X, but that team is like, Cole Young is like the 400th best prospect in baseball. Like, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
Don't judge the strength of a farm system based on where it's ranked. It just doesn't matter.
But again, be sure to join us when we rank the Mariners farm system. Yeah.
You will. You clearly care. You're asking questions about it. So
yeah. I mean,
I'll tell you guys how Emerson Hancock. Tell you guys how Emerson Hancock is only the 15th best prospect in the Mariners system. I could push him down that far. Don't challenge me. I could push him down that far and make it convincing.
I don't know about convincing. You could push him down that
far.
You
could
push him down further.
Hancock is a number 5 starter pitching in Double-A. Yeah, he should be dominating. Cool. Not good. Trade him and Ty France for Shohei Ohtani. Clearly that's enough.
All right. Last question of the day. Jace wants to know, why do you think Jerry is still rostering AJ Pollock? And he puts a parentheses here, bad. Wong, bad. And Moore needs more consistent ABs to get up to speed with all the time missed. Yes, but he needs to do that in AAA when there are other options to try. And he mentions Shiner, Haggerty, Trammell, Marlowe within the org.
Are those better options?
He didn't say better. He just said other options.
Okay, different.
He said other options.
So we're going with the Barney Stinson new is always better theory. Okay. Well,
at this point,
I'm not saying he's wrong. Like
I'm leaning towards that way. Towards that way. I've been leaning towards that way for a while here because.
Side note, Dylan Moore had a really good game on Friday.
He did.
And then he didn't play the next 2 days. Like,
yeah.
I get it, right? Like, you just platoon. I get lefty on the mound. Blah blah. Blah. I understand. But like, if you're trying to get.
I will not be gaslit by one good game.
I know, but like if you're trying to get this guy more consistent at bats, right, you have to do it. Like you just have to do it. There's just no way around. You have to do it. So if you're just going to wait around and only like, by the way, I'm pretty sure Minnesota's throwing 4 righties. Is Dylan Moore just not going to play this entire series?
Probably.
Okay, then send him down to Tacoma.
Yeah, here's the issue. This is one of my main issues with Jerry. And just the Jerry regime and Scott, etc. They hold on for way too long with guys, right? We've seen it with Tommy LaStella. We've seen it with a bunch of guys. Andrew Romine a long time ago, where like just inexplicably would just keep guys for way longer than they need to around. And times run out. Times more than run out on guys like Colton Wong and AJ Pollock. But what this really ultimately says to you is that they don't think anyone in AAA is worth it, right? Worth moving off of those guys for. So they're just kind of sticking around and waiting it out. But again, I just feel like Jerry has always been way too patient, way too conservative with guys.
Which, has paid off.
It has paid off. It has paid off at times.
It's also bitten him, so
But with certain guys where it's like, all right, they don't have a future here, Pollock, Wong, etc. They're way past their stay at this point. So, again, like I'm not saying that Jake Shiner or Taylor Trammell or Cade Marlowe or any of those guys are going to be better or give you anything that you're not getting right now. But there's some value in the unknown to me, and this is grasping at straws here because we're really at that point in the season now because nothing's really working the way you intended it. So to me, it's better to just do something and try something than just continue to wait this thing out with AJ Pollock and Colt Wong. But also on the other end of things here, you don't really use your bench. So you're not really using AJ Pollock. You're not really using Dylan Moore. So even if you bring up Jake Shiner and Cade Marlowe, are you going to use them? Probably not. I would love to see the Mariners' 9 most common starters, their plate appearances compared to the 9 common starters of every other team in Major League Baseball. Because I think that they would lead by a fairly wide margin because they just don't don't use their bench at all. Like Teos played a lot, Julio's played a lot, Gino's played a lot, Jared's played a lot. Like they haven't given these guys much of a breather. And that's also, kind of factored into our conversation about what's going on with this team in general. Are they running these guys into the ground too much?
Yeah. Anyways, thanks for running down the clock, Ty. We're way past due. So, make sure you subscribe and leave a comment down below to win those tickets. Apparently, we're giving all 3 to you guys. Not holding one back for our loyal patrons like we discussed. But, sure, whatever. Ty does what Ty wants. Get us out of here, Ty. Do it fast because we got to be out of here by 40.
Do we? You can't tell me what to do. That's going to do it for our show. Thank you so much for joining us here on Locked On Mariners. By the way, this guy next to me is being selfish and going to the baseball game tomorrow. They can get a bobblehead of a player that he hates and wants to trade immediately. Mm-hmm. So you're not getting a show tomorrow because of him. So
just Ty's too good to go solo is what he's really saying.
Right. Just remember that, guys. For Colby Patnode, I'm Titan Gonzalez. Be sure to give us a follow on Twitter at LO_Mariners. You can follow me at Dane Gonzalez. It's DANEGNZLZ. And Colby at CPAT11. That's CPAT11. Follow us on Instagram and TikTok as well over at Locked On Mariners. That's one word, Locked On Mariners. We're also now on Threads at that same @ You can also find all that stuff in the description of this episode. Thank you again for making us your first listen. Have yourself a beautiful baseball day, and we'll see you next time. Peace.